This is Individual Perspective Podcast. I am your host, Daris D. McKinney, and I'm all over the place. All over the place for 2024 as we exit out this year. And boy, I tell you, I've been in contact with a lot of big people and, you know, wannabes and people that have the persona but not the substance, you know what I mean? I know that's a lot of jungle talk and everything like that. I have a couple meetings that are very, very vital, important meetings that I'm about to enter into. But before I did that, I told myself I gotta update my viewers. Because like, I love my podcast, and the reason why I started this podcast is to kind of communicate and also not rely so much on the media and social media and different filterings and algorithms and different things that are corrupting just the pure honest truth of the matter of what it is, you know? And I told myself, it's a lot. It's a lot to kind of rise above our society now, because it's about it's not a it's the reason why I even title I call it this episode, I call it 2025 in a mindset that's already in you. You are your own teacher. You are your own influencer. You are your own worst enemy in a way, you know? And you get a lot of social media influencers that come online and you know, they hide behind, some of them hide behind that they did come from poverty, or they did come from like low income situations and everything like that. And then you have to ask yourself, what's the psychology that makes a driver and a determined, very egomaniac, like, achiever, you know what I mean? And who do most podcaster viewers and listeners and people that gravitate to social influencers and social media and pretty much YouTube teachers, who's gravitating to those people, and who's gravitating to us when we podcast and we talk about this stuff? Who is our listeners? And our listeners are people that pretty much innately know they have a quality. They say it's about 500 million listeners and viewers of podcasts episodes and the market that's out there. You know what I mean? I don't need 500 million. I just need a good handful of you guys, not a handful, but a good group of you guys to come and do follow me and hit the like buttons, subscribe, you know, the routine, you know, follow and all that good stuff. So what am I trying to talk to you guys about? And I say influence warfare, you versus them. What do I mean by that? I'm not here to pep talk you guys or give you guys you know, red pill talking points to understanding what's the reality of life is and everything like that. I think that's smacking you pretty good in your face. Maybe women never really kind of have to deal with the brutality of life and consequences and everything like that, but men do. We own every day. We get judged. Every day we look at our failures and our successes, and it's up close and personal with us. So my communication is for everyone, male or female, but I'm really talking to men that need to do something different today than you did yesterday. Why? Because you are your own protector. You are your own cheerleader. You are your own, like, self-esteem. You're not going to get it from anyone else. You're only going to be able to get that from yourself and your own awareness of self. You know, we all not rich out here, but one's own world and accomplishment in that world and efficiency to elevate oneself is all that you can hope for and all that you can strive for. You know what I mean? I want to be clear about this because I do feel that it is an influence warfare. What I mean by that, it's a war where social influencers are elevating parts of you or making you self-aware of things that you always think about and you always communicate about, but we utilize their position and their status in their lives to give us validity and activate our innate abilities that's already in us. You know, how does a social influencer have a Patreon or a membership or some kind of module classes and stuff on their platform and make it be of value to you? How is that possible? It's possible because if you decide, I want to go on this person's Patreon and become a member. I want to go into this person's classes and become a member. I want to go and travel with this person to kind of get around like a like-minded peer men and people that are driving towards where I want to be. What is that? That's you activating yourself, and you're actually in action to seek out and physically interact and drive yourself into that mindset. You know what I mean? So I'm telling you, just think about that and reward yourself for that. That even if it's a Patreon or a social influencer or a podcaster that gives you ability to do some self-correction, it's got to be self-correction. No one can give you a mindset book unless you gonna read that mindset book. And by you having the ability to purchase the mindset book and read the mindset book, or purchase a class or a online class or a consultation with a podcaster or a social media influencer, by you activating yourself to do that, you're the great person in the midst of the other people. And that elevation is you. It's that the trauma, and I don't want to sound like a woman, but let's say the psychological mental defect of human beings that makes us fail, makes us not achieve our goals, and make us conquer. Because I feel men have the Alexander syndrome inside them. It's innately in us. It's in our bloodstream. What I mean by the Alexander syndrome, we conquer, we achieve. It's innately in us to do that and have that ability. No matter how much a good-looking guy you are or how not so good-looking guy you are, no matter how big you are or how small you are, how tall you are, how short you are, no matter what it is, one of the greatest things about you, if you're birthed as a man, as a male, is you have the ability of the Alexander syndrome. I'm talking about innately in you. You know, so you have the ability to see things and achieve things and accomplish things that you seek out. And the market has migrated into the internet age, post 2007. And then the internet age turned commerce and products and valuation of consumption into the media and influencers on the internet. So for the last, I'll say, what's that, 10, 12 years? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, about, I'll say 13, 14 years. The last 13, 14 years, the people that's been elevating are your online influencers or podcasters or what they call online teachers and, you know, trainers and stuff like that, or people that kind of, maybe I'm not communicating it right, but people that teach mindset, teach real estate, teach like Bitcoin, and teach crypto coin, and teach like self-improvement and all this stuff. These are the people that for the last 5 to 10 years have been making a killing, like literally overnight. They're gaining from $100,000, $200,000, maybe that they have in their bank account from a 6-figure salary that they have. Now they got about $3 to $10 million within 10 years, within a generation. They were able to jump up that amount. And all these new millionaires that you hear people talk about in America is because the regular people, average people, have elevated fellow average people around them so much that they don't even see how fast it is. You know? So my point of bringing this up is to say that what's my purpose of coming on here talking about a 2025 and a mindset that's already in you? What am I saying about that? What am I trying to say in the influence warfare, you versus them? If you go do your data, if you go do your real analysis of our culture in America, our economic structure in America, who's the new successful people in the last 10 to 15 years, if you look at the totality of the last 25 years and you see what's the structure in the makeup of our society and what was the interaction of our society, and you'll find out that we're giving power to our neighbors, and then our neighbors are waiting for us to deplete ourselves or not be able to survive in this new economic age. And then they come in and they purchase our house. They purchase our clothes. They purchase our any assets that we have, because our elevation of them to be able to be there to flip and monetize off of the downfall of the weakest of us. You know, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I know what I just said is very trolling and very not good for everybody, but that's what the world is now. That's the interactions that's going on around us, and we have no recollection of it. Who am I? I'm a filmmaker. You know, they say filmmaker, everybody want to be a movie star, everybody want to be a director, everybody want to be a writer, everybody want to be an actor, everybody want to be a musician and stuff like that, you know. But I've been in studios since I was young, very, very, very young, and filming, I've been doing that since I literally would grab the kids in the neighborhood and I would try to recreate what TV shows that I watched. Animations, Batman, Power Rangers, all that crazy stuff. I will recreate what I've watched. With the neighborhood people, like lead the intros, the exit, the commercial breaks, all that stuff. So it was always in me. And then I used to, even in like, when I was in like grade school, I was writing journals of scripts, you know? So if I like it or not, I had no choice. It was like, even when I went into corporate America and I went to go work and everything like that, that film bug was just like, dude, you try to have your job and make film and you can't really do both. You're gonna have to dig in. You're gonna have to really dig in. You know what I mean? Yes, I took the risk of like jumping into the film world and building a value. So I knew, you know, because I stayed so long into having a job and a 9-to-5, that I really needed to come into the film industry and not only make a movie, but you gotta be so valuable in a certain amount of time that in comparison to other people in your situation or in your market or in your environment, you're towers over them, you know? So I didn't only do one movie, I did 7. You know, I don't even count the 3 that I actually got commissioned to do. That's not my ownership. I don't have ownership of them, but they on Tubi, they on Prime. I mean, yep, they're on Tubi, Prime, they on Amazon, Tubi, Prime, and they're on like Peacock, you know, all that stuff like that. So they're out there, but my 5 to 7 films, those are my babies. Those are my body of work. And what I did was I made sure that all the things I could have thought of that I would have loved to kind of make, I went out and just took 6 years and filmed a bunch of stuff. Just filmed a lot of stuff. You always got time to edit, but when you edit, you're giving it to the people. That means you gotta really make everything present well and be presented professionally, and you gotta really give it all you got. When you edit a movie, you gotta give it all you got. Now, yeah, it's a new market that's out here where you can just throw stuff against the wall and it looks like garbage, and it's you know, it's a one watch situation if you could barely get through the one watch of it. But the truth of the matter is that it's a new market like that out there. That's the Tubi market. But also on Tubi is the highest powerful funded things that Hollywood, Disney, 20th Century Fox is giving and everything. So that kind of should have people with a standard. But look, I don't even want to get into all this stuff. So what I'm saying is I needed to kind of not only come out the gate with just one solid movie in hopes that somebody give me an opportunity to keep making movies. I took the opportunity and I just went out And every moment that I have, every fever of opportunity that I could get with actors and people out there to help me make the movie and stuff like that, I used that and I grabbed it and I said, okay, hey, let's just go knock these movies out. And obviously people, you know, I really didn't want to make a lot of films until 2023, but I went out in 2028 and just started knocking out a lot of stuff. And the reason why I did that because I knew it's hard to motivate people, because unless you're a multi-millionaire studio or something, most of the motivation to make a real legitimate good presentation movie or be able to capture that. Now, this is we're not even talking about marketing and editing. Just to capture it is life and death. I knew that. That's why I didn't want to make any movies into 2023. But I decided, nope, go out and knock out as much as you can, get it, utilize the fever that you're able to have the ability to make movies, and just make whatever you can, and then you leave your time when it comes for editing. And that's what I ended up doing. So what I was supposed to accomplish within 10 years, I told myself I was going to give myself a 10-year range of playing and doing some real wild sacrifice stuff. I went out and I knocked out these movies, and I accomplished it within 6 years. Okay? Reason why I mention that is to say that, yes, I did what I could to get equipment and upgrade equipment and be able to roll that camera and do everything I can, even if I sacrifice my own well-being, my own finances, my own enjoyment of life. I gave all that up to get the movies accomplished. Under no circumstances was I ever going to allow that I wouldn't get the movies accomplished. A lot of people, they gave up. They gave up. I could see it. You know what I mean? I could see the lack of crazy. You know what I mean? And it was a self-preservation. A lot of people think they work hard, but really they had a certain threshold that was where their self-preservation kicks in. I didn't have that. I knew you can't get these movies done if you allow that threshold, because you're working with people that are not industry. These are not people that's helping you with the film and the production and everything like that. These are not people that think like Hollywood. They don't think like the studios. They don't have the mindset that if you ever get the chance to get out here and roll the camera, nothing is important but that movie. And I knew in Michigan, you're not going to get that mindset out of people. So what I have to do is, when everybody starts to drop off or they start to come up short, I got to compensate that. I got to counteract it. I got to somehow put something in to fill that void and get it accomplished no matter what. I got to be the driver from beginning to the end to get the movie captured, and that is obtained now. And that theory that I had to be like that actually worked out every single time. And it would be a moment where I had to kick into overdrive. I would have to kick into it. And I would know it, and I would do it. And that's the reason why I'm able to sit here with you guys right now and say that I accomplished the 7 films. Okay? Technically 10 films. So my point of saying that is that my trade-off was financial stability, was up mobility in lifestyle. I traded that off for the actual films, the asset of the films, the footage, the actual ability to edit it and be able to do what I need to do to really make it a legitimate film. I sacrificed my lifestyle and my livelihood, and it was rough. Trust me, it was rough. You know, I could see it. I could see the end of the tunnel. I could see that, but it was rough. It was not pretty. It's not pretty. If I give you guys the numbers, it will only embarrass me and make you be like, dude, what are you doing? You know? But if I was looking at the films and I would just be seeing a bunch of ghetto and messy stuff that just don't live up to time, it would be a catastrophic loss for me of the time and what I've sacrificed. But I'm looking at beautiful films, well done. I was the cinematographer, I was the editor, I was the cameraman, I was the audio technician most of the time, you know what I mean? I was the writer. I did everything to make the actual substance of the film real. And if I'm able to, I always told this to all the people that I was working with, producers and crew members and all this stuff like that. I was tell them all the time that today you got to make it good for 20 years, you know? And by me doing that and having that mindset, like, not that I have to be told that, it's innately in me. It's like a reflex for me that I think like that. And it allowed for me to even look at, after all filming all those movies, now I got to go in and edit these movies up and present them in 2025 style where they have some value in the visualization of watching film in 2025. Now that I'm able to do that, that footage got to live up to the editors, to the softwares, to the presentation that you're able to do with it. It's got to be able to stand up to it. And it did. And it's doing so beautiful. When I put it into different software, when I kind of manipulate it for grandeur, quality, it lives up to it, and it's so beautiful. So beautiful, the films. Like the first film and the second film, and it's like it looks just as good as the recent film, and it's like, yeah, man, this is it, and it's because I went in there and I always told myself this may be the last time. Maybe the last time. It's not, we are not living in the era of harmonious cohesiveness. It's every man for himself. It's cutthroat. Most of the people around you, they're going to break and they're going to sabotage things and they're going to actually try to destroy you sooner or later. You just don't know when, but it's going to happen. And what are your psychological mechanisms for when that happens? And because I was like that on a day-to-day basis, and still, obviously, I got to still be that way to this day, I was able to counteract any tragic, catastrophic situation that pops up. So I say this all in concept of influence warfare. You versus them. You are your answers. You are. If you could comprehend books and podcasts and trainings and stuff like that, then you already have the innate consciousness inside you. Most of the things you need to know is on YouTube. You get what I'm saying? And YouTube's been getting paid. Like, YouTube's been having that stuff free online to you guys and to all of us in ad revenue for the last 12, 13 years. And we are actually paying people for information that's redundant. Do you understand? That's truth. I know what I'm saying is crazy for influencers to hear me say it, and I might get attacked for it if anybody watches my channel. But the truth of the matter is that you're paying people for information you already have, for abilities that you already innately have in you. And whatever anyone's saying in the red pill world and podcasters and influencers, it's been said so many times and it's free on another podcast, on another training, on another classes and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe after conversations like me, if my communication or my persona or my personality goes viral, then people start to kind of restrict on the content that they're giving away for free because they know how much it is in the other markets. But I think the market decides what's free and what's not free. You know what I mean? So don't get me wrong. I have respect for a lot of great podcasters and social influencers. I think they're awesome. I think they give a great service under their Patreon, under their modules, under their classes. I think they do a phenomenal job and they give much needed affirmation content. That's what I think it is. It affirms what you already know and what you're already conscious of and what you already believe in, what you already you're already able to comprehend and communicate and acknowledge and ingest. This is accurate and good information. If you have that ability, you are the Alexander. And yeah, all a social influencer could do, all a podcast self-help platform can do is affirm the greatness that's already in you. Okay? But they're so confident that you are dumb, that we are dumb, that we look at their grandiosis and we don't judge them. We don't evaluate what's the value of them and what's to take and what's to leave, what's this and how to objectively analyze the valuation of, am I a fool for listening to this person? Yeah, that was interesting and that was valid what they communicate. But when they said this, that's it's almost a counteracting to, if I didn't know any better, you'll be talking about me. You'll be using me. I will be the joke. You know what I mean? So I always say, influencers, yeah, they good and it's value. I'm telling you, there's a value in the market for it. But at the same time, I'm more here to give a platform to validate you. You get what I'm saying? The greatness that you seek out is already in you. It's already in you. The mindset to accomplish what you're trying to seek out and accomplish is already in you. That's why you're able to go to a social influencer or a level up podcaster or a self-improved podcaster or a social influencer, and you're able to elevate yourself because you comprehend what they're saying. And you're willing to have discipline and take criticism to enact it and actually really ingest it and apply it to your life. So you are everything you need. So what's the thing that stops us? Stops the majority of men from being great? What's the difference between you and a person that's online that's really successful and they come from the mud? What's the difference? Affirmation. That's the difference. You'll find out, no matter how poor these people were, no matter how lower middle class these people were, they had a parent, they had a father, a mother, somebody give affirmation to their existence. Without that affirmation, You'll be like 99% of the human population, and you're just the circumstance you're in. That's the difference. That's the difference. Affirmation of yourself. You know? And affirmation at the age of 5 to 13 years old, it goes into self-motivation in your older age. So your mindset from who you were from 5 to 13, what you heard, how you felt, and what was communicated to you from 5 to 13, it plays a factor into your old age, to your older age. So how do you give validity to your life if you didn't have that affirmation? Well, hopefully you had a value that you gave yourself around that time, because that's what's going to lead you to understand and comprehend. Oh man, I messed up on that. That was a bad decision. Oh man, that was Jesus, man, I keep making that error. I'm not learning from my mistake. I'm doing something I know that's an error. And I keep falling into that. Why am I doing that? You're doing it because psychological human beings cannot remake 5 to 13 years old. They can't remake it. They don't have that ability. You could do a day-to-day rehabilitation of what your mindset or how affirmation was communicated to you or wasn't communicated to you from 5 to 13, but you can't change the reflex of who you are from 5 to 13. So as you get into your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, psychologically, your reflex is pulling from your 5 to 13. Your 5 to 13 gives you a habit forming in 13 to 21. You get what I'm saying? 21 to 26, you're 21 to 25, I'm sorry, you're kind of understanding that this touching this stove really hurts, and you can lose your fingers and you can burn your hand to unrecognizable situation where you can't rehabilitate the skin anymore. You kind of understand if you touch the stove, it's hot, okay? And at 26, for the rest of your life, you are who you are. And a lot of that comes from 5 years old to 13 years old. So a lot of social influencer will say, "Hey man, I behave in the mud. Don't be talking about that you from that I'm just like the rich people and all the other stuff." And they catch you right there. They get you. But what they never tell you is that they had affirmation of existence when they were young, when they were growing up, how they seen their parents interact, how they seen their father interact, how they seen some kind of superior man interact. That affirmation of existence is what makes and breaks majority of us. So I say this to kind of not have you where you don't get the psychological personal errors and psychological illness and the mental defect that's inside of you. The mental defect that's inside of you is lack of self-affirmation. And self-affirmation or affirmation of existence, put it that way. You need that from your parents. You need that from your mother, your father, somebody that you value and that needed to communicate positivity and action-orientated behavior and validating your extremities, your goals, and your thoughts and the grandioses of your thoughts. That's what kids do when they're 5 to 13. They got great thoughts and great aspirations and doing things, and if it's affirmed and if it's got affirmation to it, then all you do it is keep doing it when you get older, when you get in your teenage years. You know what I'm saying? Because certain things was affirmed and funded and ambassadored by your parents when you were 5 to 13. So when those things become part of, let's say, high school, where everything is funded in high school is by your school or your tax money or your family understanding that you're kind of aggressively want to play football, so they got to be behind you. You get what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. And then that goes into how you feel about yourself when you're in the jungle by yourself, when you don't have your parents giving you affirmation every day. You don't need it because it's a psychological redundancy in your head now when you're in your 21. You're not growing to be a different person when you're 21 to 26. You get what I'm saying? You're just kind of learning how to use the affirmation that you got from 5 to 13. This is what stops majority of men from being successful. Understanding that most of our failures come because we value outside ourselves. We value and we give affirmation to our friends, our community, our parents, our siblings, our relationships. We give affirmation to exterior people. And when we do that, we kind of self-sabotage the psychological rewiring of the eras of our 5 to 13. Okay? I know that's a lot that I'm talking about here, but this will give you guys a clear understanding of a mindset that's already in you and why you can't tap into it. What's stopping you from really doing you? And then allowing you to understand what's the real war. And the really war is against them. Who is them? People that trick you to think you need them. People that manipulate you to validate them, and then you're just a roll of the dice. The instant gratification is your support of them. But for you to take it and apply it and make it something, it's like a company. They say most companies succeed or fail within the first 3 years. And the first 10 years, they have none existed. They won't even try again. You know, majority. So 5%, they say 5% won't even try again. You know? So I say that to let you guys understand it needs to be more of you, less of them. Who is them? Anybody that doesn't sacrifice with you. Anybody that don't attack the system, to attack the people that are feeding off of you. You get what I'm saying? Anybody that doesn't attack, like, so obviously your family, your friends, your kids, your wife, your girlfriend, your family members are most of the time they're with you on the battlefield. And if they're not, take accountability of that they're not, and understand that they're not, so you can have a clear understanding of who is, because that's y'all need to focus on where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to do, whatever it is. If it's repairing a car to building a Fortune 500 company, you need only people that give affirmation to the goal and the path that you're going in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna wrap this up by saying just a little small communication of where I'm at right now. The good thing about it is I always keep my margins down so much. Why? Because I don't ever want people to give me money or put money into what I'm doing, and it'd be such a grandeur amount that I could never really like wash it. You know what I mean? Just like where it's relevant. The amount is so irrelevant that it's a effortless, you know, like literally a buyout. It's a literally effortless buyout. You know, I do that because I know it's a high probability of failure. In addition to the high probability of failures, it's a high probability of self-sabotaging. So once that kicks in, I have to acknowledge it and say, you can't go everywhere with this person. Can't go everywhere with these people. You got to just drop them. Clear it out, drop them. Here, go. And make sure that you're seeing that in the midst of making it. You can't think about self-preservation of your content, your property, of your assets. You can't think of that after the fact. You got to think of it before you do anything. How you got to play those angles, how you got to move through it to make sure that the goal is preserved. You get what I'm saying? And it doesn't need to be compromised by any weird manipulation or blackmail or threats or all that crazy stuff. You got to make sure you kind of preemptively plan for that, you know? So my name is Daris D. McKinney. I'm a filmmaker at Daris Entertainment. You'll see these movies come out. I might do a podcast episode myself, just kind of talking about what I do and showing some of the things I've done. And additional to that, Individual Perspective is a podcast. We are heavily at Rumble. I came over to YouTube because I wanted to build an audience, but I don't think I'm getting such a big audience here compared to what I was getting in Rumble. But I'll work on it to try to magnify my podcast. But I'm also doing it because it's purposeful. You know, you never know when people are going to kick in and start watching it. Hopefully they will. Hopefully I'll do about hundreds of this stuff, you know, through the year and stuff in the next coming year, and also just keep going through the years. And that drives people to the content and everything like that. I've been going since, like, I've done my podcast in 2015, 2016, 2017, covering Trump. I've done a detailed podcast for months and months and months through the pandemic just to document that. With my fellow brother, Khalil Biddle, we did a Life Choice Health and Wealth. That's the name of the podcast, Life Choice Health and Wealth. But if you look up Individual Perspective Podcast on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, you'll see our old stuff. You'll see the stuff that we did in 2015, 2016, 2017. And I will bring a lot of that stuff because it's more than you probably would see on those platforms that needs to be re-uploaded and everything like that. So I would do that and really because it's thousands of hours of podcasting, hundreds of hours of recent stuff that we did. We really went full throttle since June and July of this year on our new presentation of Individual Perspective Podcast. So you can go over to Rumble. You get hundreds of hours over there. You get different stuff over there, and it's totally different over here in Rumble. And you get stuff on YouTube, and check that out. And I hope you guys like it and follow. Hit that subscribe, hit the follow, hit the like button. If you guys can, drop $1, $2, whatever, into our PayPal, our Cash App, our Venmo. The links are in the description at the bottom. Please, support is always needed. Even the richest of podcasters and everything, they're supported by other podcast members, giving them super chats and chat payments and stuff like that, and all that stuff like that. So please support. I just wanted to come on and kind of give you guys a bigger picture that even the influencers are trying to eat the meat off our bones. They don't mean no harm by it. It's the business. They don't mean nothing passive aggressive about it. It's just the business. They probably don't even psychologically see how shady they are. But it's just the way the business is, and it's a good business. You know what I mean? We all are here, and I'm not trying to be an influencer. I'm trying to just communicate your innate ability, and I guess that puts me in an influencer's perspective. So I guess I'm a slug, but I don't think I get value from the demise of people that are not so successful or have the accessibilities that I have. So that's the best way I can communicate this to you guys. I'm really for you. I really did Individual Perspective Podcast to let you understand your individual perspective is what's going to help you in the long run. You know what I mean? And everybody say, well, did your individual perspective help you in the long run? Yeah, absolutely. I could not have got these movies done. I could not have got the equipment. I could not have done the stuff that I've done. I could not even seen the value of my ability to really make a good movie and have the intellect and the instincts and the technical apparatus and acumen to actually do it from Japan, India, to America. To have the ability that I'm not intimidated by any equipment, any software, any situation that's put in front of me, any script. I'm not actors, whoever. I'm the dominant. I understand how to utilize it, how to actually make the outcome be very, extremely accomplishable and competitive. So the only way I'm able to say that is I had to throw myself into it so I wouldn't be a legend in my own mind. So I can't sit here and play coy with it or play insecure. My abilities is extremely crazy from the road that I was on, that I didn't want to be on, but time and life does wild things to the path that you want to go. You know? So this is a mindset that's already in you. And I need you to understand for 2025, the year 2025, I need a majority of men, not the exceptional. I don't care about them. They're relevant. The anomalies of men, they're relevant. The majority of men need to understand you are your own answers. That all the answers you ever need is already in you. Already in your ability. So the faster you get an individual perspective makes you look at everything. You take out your personal emotion, you look at the objectivity of it, the straight, objective analysis of everything. I always say the worst thing about me is that I'm unmercifully objective. In Individual Perspective Podcast, the concept of this podcast is to be extremely objective. And it's when your truth is the objective truth. It's just what it is. And that's what Individual Perspective Podcast is. And that's the purpose of me doing the podcast. Yes, I'll be talking about politics. I'm behind in a bunch of topics that going on out there. You know, Trump battling with all the different people preemptively before he gets sworn in. You got the gentleman, the knucklehead gentleman that killed the United Healthcare CEO and try to get you guys a psychological understanding and objective analysis of that. Additional to, like, it's a couple comments that I need to update because some new information came out about a couple people that I've done previous podcasts analyzing a situation, and I told you guys I would come back to give you a analysis on any update information I find out. There's some update information, so it's a lot of podcasting I gotta do. But I wanted to kind of come on and take a moment to kind of really show respect to anyone that comes across this video. And thank you guys for watching. And like I said, Individual Perspective is you having objective and truthful accountability to what you allow to ingest in your head and what you comprehend and what you're advocating out of your lips. That is true. It's what it is. It's the truth. And the analysis that you can give and the communication that you communicate is just what it is. You don't ever have to come back 20, 25 years from now and you not hold up to scrutiny. My podcast, the things I've been doing since 2008, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2020, it holds up to this date. You go to my Twitter, it holds up to this date, everything I tweet. So thank you guys. Thanks for joining us. This is Individual Perspective Podcast. I'm your host, Daris D. McKinney, and I will see you guys on the next one. And yes, there will be a next one very, very soon. Thank you.